everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to HappyMeCareer Coaching Initiatives, episodes number 16. Today's topic is very exciting because in the afternoon, it's not in the evening. And what we're going to talk about? Performance coaching that unlocks potential within you. So today we have Sharon Seet with us. And let me start off with, as the saying goes, give a man a fish and you feed him a day. You teach him how to fish and you feed him for his lifetime. And now we have progressed so far in this digital technology era that is not just about teaching. Just like coaching has evolved from a traditional directional approach to a developmental approach. What I'm saying here is to use coaching to unlock a person's potential to maximize their own performance, helping them to learn rather than teaching them. Correct? So this afternoon, okay, feel free to drop us a line if you can hear us and drop us a questions along the way as I unlock the conversations with Sharon's, okay, in this today's session. Now, in Happy Me Career, this is what we do. Through our platform, we help individuals to dictate their willingness and motivations in engaging themselves to coaching conversations. Through Happy Me Career Coaching initiatives, we hope to educate and spread the awareness of the need for coaching, the understanding of coaching, and know how coaching can help. Coaching is a profession to help you solve your challenges, your issues. Just like how you see a doctor to get treated with the health problems. Of course, it doesn't mean anything about health problem or any problem, but coaching is help to unlock your potential from within to uncover some hidden potential. And so much so, we have with us today Sharon Seet. Thanks, Sharon, for being here with us today. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, Sharon. Now, Sharon Seet is a global HR leader and a professional coach who is so passionate about helping internal and external clients to improve their lives, relationships, and business performance. Now, Sharon aims to transform lives and act as a catalyst for people achieving their dreams through coaching. And personally, I know Sharon sits in several mentoring communities to give back and help many younger people. And today, what we have, like I say, okay, at the end of the show, it's very, very kind of Sharon to actually wants to offer something back to the audience who sit through the entire show, and at the end of it, you drop us your email and we'll send you the gift. Okay, great. Now, Sharon, can you share with us more? Having over 15 years of HR experiences, is that why coaching becomes part of you? Share with us how you come about in coaching then.
And I think first of all, thank you, Mavis, for your kind words. And it's my privilege to partner with you in today's live show. And I hope we can share and learn together with our lovely audience today. As to answer to your questions, I've actually incorporated coaching in my HR career by becoming an internal coach for those organizations I have worked for. And I gained the trust and buy-in from my leaders to impact my coaching experience to my HR team, as well as some of the business leader. And to share with you a real story of myself, I was promoted to a first-time manager more than 10 years back. It has positively disrupted my life and career, as I was so used to be an individual contributor where I was the HR subject matter expert to achieve peak performance for the organization. And the only person I need to be accountable for was my line manager. So I was so, having a lot of freedom. And then back then, when suddenly I was given a group of 8 team members to manage, I was totally at a loss. However, my line manager trusted me and believed in me that I can surpass all these challenges in the leadership journey. So my line manager prepared me by investing an external coach, for the disruption I was facing. And at that time, I had no idea what a coach would do and what was the difference between a coach and a mentor. So then I realized a coach was actually a brand new, terminology for me at that time. And later on, I then realized A coach will ask you questions which will move you forward in the conversation without giving you any form of advice. While a mentor is someone who has the extensive experience or the subject expert who can advise you on which route to take when you face challenges. So hence that was how I encountered coaching. I hope I answer your question, Mavis.
Oh, yes, definitely. And you mentioned, as an individual contributor, being the subject matter expert yourself, right? So, and coaching helps you to move forward from there to become part of a team, to build a team. And from that point, maybe share with us a little bit more how that feels like, or, what was your process of in that journey then?
So in that journey, in that coaching kind of session or the training session, I learned how to delegate because I don't know what is delegation. So through the coaching program, they teach us how to delegate without feeling guilty. And then how do we give one time, performance feedback? Because we don't know how to give feedback where the employee will receive it and they will change their behavior after that. And I was also taught how to deal with conflict management in the midst of the coaching. So that was actually three things very important and significant part of a change in my career. And I can say that never happened to me when I was an individual contributor. Only when I become a manager or a leader, then these tools has become part of me and something that I really need to learn and also able to use them properly because what I'm managing is people and they all are very complex. So I think coaching really helped me in that journey.
Wow, you mentioned about something that is very, very right to the heart is because people are complex and managing a relationship is actually very, I would also say complex too, right? So since most of us, our time is spent at work, Sharon, how effective can coaching be for individual at work? And what kind of relationship you think from your experience needs to be cultivated then, especially when you talk about just now earlier that people are complex and managing people is actually also a complex uh, process also, right?
So, personally, the coaching journey has impacted my career significantly in a positive manner. So, it has taught me the power, like I mentioned, of a proper delegation, developing my team members vertically and horizontally. Because as an individual contributor, I only think of developing myself. So I don't think of developing others. So through that, I learned to develop my team, how to give constructive feedback to co-workers without feeling guilty, which then produce a positive change in them. So when you see the positive change in them, right, you will feel like, wow, this is amazing, this coaching process. And regular coaching and feedback will provide the support to the employee and rectify the performance issue quickly before they become critical. So I always have a one-on-one, either on a weekly or monthly basis, depending on the team structure as well. And also the relationship between the leader and the subordinates needs to be cultivated. So every leader understood and apply the power of coaching. So a company will experience a high retention and engagement rate and having happy and motivated employees. And I really can say that many researchers have already proven this point that coaching actually help increase retention and engagement rate.
Mm. So when you say is that this is how you can cultivate is between the leaders as well as the individuals, right?
Yeah,
The
correct.
employees. And being yourself, do you feel that you are part of an internal coach to in the organization then?
Yes, so right now, or in my previous company, I'm already have been an internal coach for different levels of the employees, especially for those first-time manager. They are very lost because when they first become a manager, they will think that, oh wow, the title is good, I got more pay, I'm more salary, I'm there already. But the next day they will feel that, oh no, why are all these people problem coming to me? Then they realize actually it's not easy to manage people. It's easier to manage their work, which is why they did so well until they promoted to a manager. But if we don't close up the gap to impart the coaching skill into them, later on in their career, they will face more challenges. So first time manager is someone that we need to prepare them for the journey, in the leadership through coaching.
Mm. So that applies for first time leaders. Then what about people who are already experienced in their work for many years? They've been leader for many years, and when we talk about cultivating coaching habits and coaching culture within the organization for such seniors leaders, how can we do so then?
So for senior leaders, there are two things we need to break, which is hard to break, but we need to break that. That is ego and pride. Because first of all, they will think that I don't need coaching. I'm okay, I'm there already because I'm senior. So I think it's the mindset, and we need to move them to the correct mindset. And once they embrace coaching or they experience the power of coaching, when they break, the ego was break, and also the pride, they will get there even faster. So that is where I would like to see is, even though the process is much slower, but you can slowly see that it will take effect, positive effect, when we're able to embrace that. So normally for that level, we will get buy-in from the C-suite first. When the C-suite got buy-in, normally they will cascade down the kind of the coaching culture to the middle management and then to the lower kind of management. So this is where we kind of need to know where the structure to zoom into to support them.
Mm. So, if let's say, for example, all this coaching culture and habit has been cultivated within the organizations, do you think senior leaders will need to go through a little bit more on more of coaching training, so that they can impart the coaching to the downline, to the employees themselves?
Definitely. And what we need to prove to these leaders are actually need to cost them less time. They need to know how much time, and does that cost them a lot of money. So once we have these two, and make sure that also with this, and also need to tell them that the results will be able to measure or measurable,
Mm.
and it's guaranteed, with that tool, then they will get the buy-in very fast. So I did try this method, and they kind of got it. Once they got buy-in into, it will cost them less time, it will give them the result they want, and then normally they will say yes. So you
Mm.
have to have some kind of model to get them into it.
Very good. So then, in that case, that is for the leaders themselves. What about employees themselves? People who work in the organizations, not at the leadership positions yet. How can we actually help them to run through and buying that coaching mindset then?
Actually, in most of the organization I work in, right,
Mm.
the most hungry one are actually the individual contributor. They wanting to be coached, but no chance. Normally when
Mm.
coaching comes, right, the perspective of the company is they want to give to their best leader, they want to give to the manager. So the lower rank will not have a lot of chance. So we really hope that we can have, because all these lower rank staff, one day they will become a leader. So the
Mm.
company need to plan for all these, this talent to be ready to be level up. So those company that embrace coaching journey, right, they are really, really very far-sighted, that they see this that is happening. So actually, through all levels, they have this coaching culture going on, and coaching training, that's why you see the company is growing, and the employees are happier, and then the retention rate are higher.
Mm. Wow, I think that organization is actually one organizations that I'll be very happy to work in. Right.
Yes,
Now, Sherry,
indeed.
I know today we are looking at performance coaching that unlocks the potential within you. And just now earlier, right? Can I pick out one word that you have actually talked about is hungry? Who individual contributors who are very hungry to go. What is next? What else? So before we go into that performance coaching, care to share, what is unlocking the potential within you means to the individual? Because this individual can constitute both hungry and those people who yearns to progress, or maybe who are thinking of progressing. So what is unlocking this potential within you means?
Okay, so I put it very simply. It means to bring that hidden talents and gifts out of the individual through coaching. Sometimes we need that extra help or confidence to realize that we have, and yet we are not aware of it. So basically, it means to bring the awareness out of the coachee. Actually, you have it. You need to fish that out together with them. So once you see that process happen, right, the individual will feel so amazed. Actually, I have it, but I didn't know it. But now I know it. How I'm going to use the gift. So I think this is the unlocking process.
Wow, can I go deep dive with you a little bit, Sharon? When
Mm.
earlier you mentioned about you have to fish together with the individuals to fish that potential out from them, right? I mean, if let's say that individual contributor is a very hungry one, then it's easier to go fishing with them. But what about those individuals who maybe are hungry but not very hungry kind? How do you go about in fishing that out then?
So those that are sitting on the fence, is it, Mavis?
Yeah, correct.
So I think the question to ask them is, where do you want to go? Kind of like understanding how much they want to stretch. So when
Mm,
they tell you how they want to be stretched, right, you will kind of know this individual can be stretched or not. Because sometimes it's like a rubber band. If we overstretch it, then it will be broken. So we need
mm,
to actually give that the permission to stretch them. So normally I will ask them, can I have the permission from you that I can stretch you further, something like that. Then they will tell me, okay, let's try it. So from there, then I know they want to be stretched, or they will tell me, okay, I don't think I want to go there, and I think I'm happy at where I am, so I'm done. So normally, we will try to kind of balance wherever the coachee or the individual want to go.
mm.
So we
Yeah,
don't
you just
force them.
I see, I see. Yeah, I actually very good because then you've just answered one of the questions in my thoughts is about seeking permission. How do you know
Mm,
then? Because some leaders feels that they see a potential in the individual, and they want to stretch, but then
mm,
the individual may not want that, right? Because the leaders may perceive, but what they perceive is not that. So I think seeking permission is very important. Now,
mm.
Sharon, I've read your book titled Exit Triggers. And in there, you wrote about Seed's coaching model designed as a coaching intervention. So, how is this coaching intervention, right, helps the individual to unlock the potential then?
I think first of all, thank you for reading my first book, Mavis, and this really encourages me a lot, a lot. And if you follow through the seed model,
Mm.
so I name it because that's my surname, so it's easier to remember. And if you want to know what SEET mean in the model, you can read more about my book. I hope today you will bring back the book or the gift. Oops, did I just leak out something? And then it brings you through the model will brings you through the coaching process, from understanding the real problem or the issue of the coachee to getting the coachee to move forward from the current situation to the future being of the situation, mean moving them forward. And when they walk out of their current position, right, they got unstuck in that situation. Because some
Mm.
of my coachee, right, or the individual, they actually got stuck in that position for many years. It will be amazed when you ask them, how long have you been in this situation? They will tell you 3 years or many years, but nobody, they haven't really talked about it. And then they actually got stuck so long. And then once they got unstuck, right, you will see them coming out from the dark side of the tunnel into the coaching process, in the coaching process to the bright light at the end of the tunnel with an aha moment. You can see that literally in the coaching process. And I feel that this is the most beautiful part in coaching, when they came out on their own. After 3 years or something like that, is really, really something. It's a happy moment for them.
Mm. I think I agree with you. Most definitely is to actually helping them to unstuck their position. Now, the next question is that Sharon, would you think is it possible where they are stuck for so long, right? but they are too comfortable in that stucking area. So how do you then think that this coaching intervention will help them then?
So normally I will again ask their permission. So, how long do you want to be there? To be stuck there. Directly, sometimes I will ask them, how long do you want to pursue this? And then they suddenly say that, then they realize, actually I've been in for so long. Then normally their answer will be, no, I want to be out now. Then suddenly they will think of some new ideas in their mind. Then they will share more how to get out. And then they start to tell you how they want to get out. Then actually they know how to get out. But as you say, they are too comfortable inside. They don't want to come out. So
Yeah.
only through that conversation, and then only when they are willing to come out on their own, then we can kind of, wait for them, willing to come out, then we can kind of, work alongside with them.
So I think you point out very rightfully, one very key thing is the willingness to be ready to embark on such a coaching intervention or coaching conversation, right? So then indeed, is this coaching intervention then is the same as performance coaching then?
The process is the same, but the topic might be different. Some might be, life coaching, talk about more of my life, and some might be career coaching about where maybe a career transition, or maybe I should be moving to a different role. During this pandemic, we are seeing the increasing of wellness coaching, and performance coaching are mainly used in organizations where we are focusing high performing teams and leaders and talents. So basically what I can say is the process is the same, but it really depends on the topic and then where we are moving.
Interesting. You point out something is that I thought it's always in a workplace, it's all about career, work. You also can talk about life, is it? Life
Yeah.
coaching. Okay, so how so is such coaching conversations, be relevant for them at workplace?
I think if it's talking about life, because when we talk about work-life balance, if their own life is not in balance, they will affect their work. So that might be the part they want to fix first. So normally when it comes to coaching, we really have to ask the coachee or the individual, so you have all these issues, which one is important to you? Then we will break into little parts. We can't solve all their issue, but definitely they are interlinked. But which one is the most important? Normally is the life, is the where their family or something happened to them. Then that's how they impacted their work. So that's where they will pick that first.
I see. Is there any like example that you can share with us, or that you can share with us? What is that life thing? Is it because when I talk about hearing about work-life balance, it's all about managing how to manage remote work or healthy work life so that you can have a healthy personal time and a healthy work time. Is that so? Or what is the common example?
I think I remember there's a coaching session where the individual actually talks about wanting to fix time management issue. And then I was thinking, okay, time management issue, is it work or something? But actually, when I asked the coachee about what is the real problem, she say it's time management. However, I said, is it your personal time or the work? So she mentioned that normally she will be late for appointments. She will be, wake up. She'll wake up, the alarm clock will sound like 6 a.m., but she will wake up at 7 a.m., like slowly dragging herself up. And then realize that actually the real problem is really not the time management, is the motivation of her getting up to go to work. So it seems that something is dragging her. So in the end, she also found out that she is very tired at her workplace and she has no one to share, and that become another issue. So that is where we interlean and found out that, okay, actually the main issue is not about the time management. She thought that she has a very, very poor time management. But actually in her thoughts, there's a lot of things that is going on in the organization, and then it affected her life. And then it seems that she couldn't sleep well at night as well, and then disturbed, and then all this time management keep coming out, and then she missed appointment with her friends, and then in the end she decided to take a sabbatical off to rethink where she want to go. I think after 2 coaching sessions, she realized that actually what she need is to to really understand where she want whether this job is suitable for her or not. So that is where she actually mentioned that it's really not about time management anymore.
Mm.
Very
Wow.
interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Actually, that is in fact how coaching is carried out, right? Sometimes when the coachee comes or the individual comes to us with a problem, it's always not the case that the problem is the problem. So when we deep dive deeper, then we'll find the root cause, correct?
Yeah.
So then in that case, right? So just now earlier in our before we start the session, remember we talk about is coaching something that people are shunning away, and how then do we want, because when we use the word coaching intervention, which I really don't want to use the word coaching intervention. So do you think there is still that shunning away of coaching within the organization from not just the leaders but also the employees themselves?
Mm, I think so far, what I've heard is the people who embrace coaching, and what we need to do is to bring more awareness about what coaching is about. Because when we talk about coaching in an organization, normally the first reaction from the employee will be, why do I have a problem? Like, what's wrong with me that I need a coach or I need someone to guide me? So we have to change that mindset, the perspective that what coaching is all about. So normally I will always share my personal story about how I got promoted, and then how a coach helped me, using a personal story to share, like real life example, to get to where I am now, so that there is a real life experience, a journey. And then that is where we embark all of them into the same journey, because they want to be where, where I am be, they also want to be there, and then they will ask how. So that's where we kind of share with them, this is how I gone through. If you are, want to be part of the journey, then maybe we can journey together. So we need to have a good real life experience and story to tell, so that we can get the buy-in from all these stakeholders. Then they will kind of be part of the coaching community, and they will also help you to rally, how coaching help them in the future. So I think this is where we want to go.
So it's like building a coaching community within the organization so that everybody supports each other in their coaching journey, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's good. That's good. So when one experienced coaching receives the benefits of coaching, and just now you mentioned about conflict management, performance management, personal professional development, or even behavioral change. So in your book, you actually talks about when someone go through coaching, and you also talk about in your story when you share your story that actually coaching helps you, and it helps in terms of behavioral change. So what is this behavioral change are we expecting?
Okay, so take for example, performance management. So there must be some area of development the individual needs. So once we have the facts about those areas, for instance, I quote better delegation and time management. So we will zoom in and focus these two areas in the process of coaching to have a positive change of behavior at the end of the coaching journey. So this process might take weeks or months to complete. It all depends on how fast the individual or their superior want to see the result. So most importantly is we have to identify the facts. What are the behavior change we want to see. So then we can zoom into that area. And normally that will be the case for almost every individual when it comes to performance management.
Mm. So now then when we talk this is with regards to performance management, right? So but as an individual, right, and we want to educate them on the coaching mindsets. So how then generally can we expect such a change other than performance management?
For the individual, normally they will want kind of like development, kind of professional development, career development. So normally when individual face any issue, either is their performance or their career is going nowhere, they need coaching. So normally they are stuck somewhere. So we will definitely tackle on either one. So and if it's a career coaching, that's where it's either a career transition or something happened in their career where they are stuck, where they can't, my boss has been there for so many years, and then do I need to wait until he or she retire? Then when is my turn? So that's where we face in most of the organization. That is where coaching will unlock them, because we need them to see that actually they have different talent and gift. And that's where we help them to grow horizontally. And then we give them a special project. We put them into a special task force. They can be a leader in that project. And then they can use their gift. So it's through the coaching, then they realize and be aware of that. Then once they enjoy what they are doing on a daily basis, they will stay longer in the organization, and their behavior will be more positive because they are doing something that they like, and they realize that actually they are managing their own career already, whether they don't really bother about whether vertical or and going upwards. They are more focusing on what they are they like to do, and growing horizontally to gather more skill set.
I see, I see. Okay, so Sharon, then in that case, right, going back, so if I were to interlink with our previous conversation, earlier conversations that you talk about, the example of this girl that she finally found her time management problem is actually the motivation. So, does that mean that coaching also, in terms helping us to change our behavior, but at the same time, because it actually triggers our motivations. That's why we have a change in our behavior.
Yes, yeah, correct. So we have to find normally is the values and what
Mm.
motivate the individual. What do they believe in, and why do they actually kind of, for example, my values are trust. So my trust and kind of integrity. So when something happened, kind of maybe conflict management, normally I will check in myself. Is it that the other party, kind of infringe my value, and my personal value not aligned with that? So then I will check in with myself. Then I was self-corrected, and then realign with the person again. So normally it's the value. So we have to check in where our personal value lies, and then we will zoom into that area. Then we will become a better leader in that way.
Personal values. So actually,
Mm.
each of us, our personal values differs to it. And how comfortable are we to express our personal values at work? What do you think of that?
I think that is we need deeper relationship, more kind of build a relationship first. That's where then the individual will share more about their personal value. Younger generation tend to share faster their values. They want to tell you their aspiration, their value, because they will only join a company if their personal value in line with their own value. So they want a meaningful job, and they want a company to join a company that align with their value. So that is for younger generation. But a more mature generation, normally you really have to spend more time with them before they really kind of share with you their value. So that will require times. But once you kind of know their values, it's very easy to work with them and lesser conflict. And then it's a win-win situation once the values are aligned. That's why in my team kind of culture, the first thing that we set together to do is our team norms, our values. How do we want to behave? How do we want to, work together? What is our working style? So that is something we will align as a team in the beginning.
Okay. So then, all these things about uncovering the values, working, building relationships, working on conversations, coaching conversations with individuals, all this takes up so much of a time. And this is Somehow or rather, I see it as a profession, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
You think
So
internal coach
yeah,
is a profession?
yes, I think that's why I think I always echo that every talent is a coach themselves. So it's a profession, and in whichever expertise they are in, they one day they will become a coach themselves once they establish a skill. And coach is definitely a profession, and it definitely has to be in at least a leader's fingertips when they need to at least coach their subordinates.
Mm. So if let's say someone that actually hasn't promote or unlocked that potential, the leader within themselves, and they've been through that coaching process or journey, I would say, right? So Sharon, would you agree that once they actually experience such a coaching and they gain such so much about the benefits of coaching, and you say as a leader, if coaching is at the tip of their finger, they would actually normally will also transmit to their downline, their employees below them, right?
Mm. So as a leader, I became a better listener. After going through the coaching training myself, and I care more about my team's interest than my personal interest. I became more forward looking and improved in strategic planning, and I learned to coach my direct reports and gain their trust. And this strengthened our relationship, which was visible to my line manager and peers. I've also changed from my goals to our goals in a team setting and become more we-centered. So example of we-centered are involving others in decision making, engages my team, work towards a common team goals, recognize my team members, and listen with empathy. So this help each one of us to become a better leader, a better version of ourselves.
Interesting. Perhaps we can revolve a little bit on this topic, yeah? Because when we started off with these coaching conversations in the beginning, okay, past 40 minutes, we talk about you coming from an individual contributor and promoting to go into a team context. And now we are talking about the we inside us.
Mm.
So, do you believe that actually coaching helps us to uncover that leader within us too?
Yeah, so once you become a coach or you are into understanding more about the coaching journey, you will start to change even your behavior, the way you talk. It becoming more on we and let's go together rather than I, me, and myself. And you tend to turn your attention to others, and you tend to care more about other. So what I have, for example, in my meeting, right? I will kick off, just saying hi everyone. But most of the talking are done by my team member. I'm the last to speak at the end. So I kind of give them the flow to lead. And then I will be at the end to kind of wrap up. And then just want to give them the empowerment. So that has taught me a lot as a leader. Not when I'm in a individual contributor where you always raise up a hand, you want to be in front, you want to shine so brightly there.
Mm. So then when you talk about empathy in this whole process, right? So empathy requires listening, requires being the unity of the we. And what else? Because empathy, to me, I think not just only me, but many other people will think that empathy is a big word. What does empathy really comprise in terms of this context? And how coaching can help to uncover the empathy within us?
Actually, empathy in the research, it shows that it's the top 5 leadership skill that a leader must have. And due to the current pandemic, even more a leader need empathy. So that is something that we need to also cultivate, because some leaders in my organization or previous organization, they really have not much, really empathy. They are kind of like task oriented, and then they say that we are here to work. We are not here to, be compassionate. And they equate empathy to, you are too soft hearted. You need to don't be stronger, something like that. But now empathy is very important to every employee, especially at this time. They want to see how a leader really treats them, how the leader really care. Like what I mentioned in my book is, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care for them. So empathy is something that the younger generation, especially, they are looking for in terms of choosing their leader, which leader they want to follow, and does this leader have a heart for the team, a simple gesture, even to say thank you. So it has becoming more and more important for every individual, especially in the current situation and also in the organization. So there's also courses that come out how to lead with empathy. And companies are putting leader into that. So you can imagine that this is a movement that is going in right now in our current situation.
Wow. Now, we have on our floor Daryl. Daryl actually, hi Daryl,
Hi,
our friend
Dora.
Daryl. Daryl actually mentioned about empathy needs us to be in the moment, in the heart, mind, and soul. Sharon, earlier you mentioned that when it comes to leadership, or some of the leaders will think that you cannot be soft-hearted. What are your thoughts to this statement that Daryl has presented to us? Then,
I think that is a very great question from Dara. And also to me, is I can illustrate with an example. Actually, in my organization, I have a very, very strong leader. And you seldom will see him kind of be empathetic in front of you. But especially during COVID, he did a simple gesture like, and he know everybody was, that time Singapore was like locked down for 2 months, circuit breaker, and he's actually based in Australia, and then he heard about that, so he decided to send us lunch or snack delivery without telling us to our home, to our home, to those Singapore leaders. And he just want to show us that, he cares. And we were so surprised that we received something from him, because we will never know that he will do something like that, because he has been, so more on a stern leader. And then I don't really see any compassionate, out of him for these few years. So this is where the empathy came out. And then he didn't even tell us. And then after that, when we thank him, he still replied like, oh yeah, something from me, hope you all like it. Just a short thing. He still remained his calmness. So, but there's empathy being released in that process. So I thought that is something that I would like to share, and it's really commendable. Even you are seen as a heart leader, but you really have a heart for the people actually.
wow, so sweet. I think
Mhm.
that is really truly what people need during this period, this pandemic, when everybody is so chaotic and very overworked, or I would say, or tired during this pandemic. Now, let's come back to coaching. So how can this coaching process and coaching journey, right, help us to unlock the empathy within us? Because some of the times, sometimes people, I would feel, may feel that they can't show their empathy, or don't know how to show their empathy. So can we use coaching to help us to uncover that then?
I think it is possible, and but it requires the coachee or the individual to be open, and again, how much they want to be stretched, and maybe we can move them to a place where, probably they can give us example. Did they actually show some empathy in terms of, in the midst of their life, in the journey, reflect about how they did it and how do they feel about that. So that's where they go into the positive side. When they did that, actually it's positive. Then why are they not using that now? Why do they keep it? And then didn't actually use it again. So we kind of go taking them back to the sweet spot again, and then they become more aware in that area, that zone. Then encourage them to move out, to exercise the empathy again. So I think sometimes they tend to, sometimes people, we have, few, they put on masks, or they have a few faces in the organization. They need to express, more stern and more autocratic kind of leadership style. but I believe every individual has a certain level of empathy. So it's how they actually want to do it and when they are ready to start doing it all over again. So some encouragement will be able to help them to move out into that zone again where
Mm.
they experience that sweet spot.
Mm. So how then can we as an internal coach or in the organizations or in the workplace, encourage that to encourage the whole community within organizations to find that sweet spot to engage them in coaching.
So, like what I did in my previous organization is more on awareness. So, first of all, we kind of brief them what coaching is about, and what are the benefits, and also how are the time they normally want to know the time, and then how much investment they need to make the time investment, and also get the buy-in of their managers. Once we got the buy-in from the managers and also look into the HR team to help to create a model or a framework, and then it will work more effectively. And it's actually a kind of a good habit we want to create. So one that is into their habit, then they will kind of know that, okay, we will need to have a login one-on-one. Some one-on-one session, sometimes it's a lot time consuming for the leader, but we make it happen. Start with 30 minutes, then 1 hour, then they'll feel the impact of it every month. Some of them 30 minutes every week. So we have that little system building in for them. Then once they have some structure and some practice session that we have to get them along, we got all their buy-in, then it works more effectively. And then we have a coaching community to support them along the way as well. So we actually train like coaches internally, some leaders who are keen in this skill that they can help us to be the ambassador. So we don't work too hard on our end trying to make it happen, but we have other like-minded people like us to engage the whole coaching movement in the organization.
Mm. So actually, coaching has, to some bigger organization, maybe coaching is much more, I would say, well recognized, well buy in. And to some organizations where coaching's mindset is still at the very pre-seed stage, I would say.
Mm.
So, and we do need to build on that community. So how can these organizations, embark the very first step you would recommend to embark on a coaching mindset on building that awareness up then?
I think it takes a lot of courage to actually get the buy-in from, firstly, even the leaders or the HR manager to kind of, because most of the HR leaders, or I know some of them don't, they know kind of coaching, but they really didn't know deep in depth. So this group of the people, we need to get even CEO or C-suite or HR, that we need to get their more awareness about what coaching is about, how can coaching help them. So then we can go deep into the organization, or else there's always a layer that's blocked, that we can't get through the entire organization if these layers are not open up to coaching themselves.
I see. So it's still the leaders to buy in first and then build the community up.
Yes, so it really have to really get supporters from the leadership team. Then things will flow very very fast all the way down the organization, where all of us will really benefit. And then you will see many superstars are being came out and transformed during the coaching process. So it's very rewarding to see that happen.
Wow. Do you in the organizations you work in where coaching culture is already set in, do you see superstars or you all recognize these superstars in one way or
Yes,
another?
yes. So managed to have that in my previous organizations that I work with. So the CEO got buy-in on the coaching. So that's why we got a senior external coach. And then and because they identify myself as one of the high potential at that time, so I joined a senior leadership training. I don't know what's happening. So but that's when I encountered the coaching. And then it brings from the senior leadership to the HR, and then to all other level. So that's where we saw so many superstars are being formed, and they are now, still some of them are even have their own kind of form their own coaching community because they really like that technique as well, and it really sparked up the entire coaching culture in the organization that it was like unstoppable. So I think it's really a good story and to tell.
Wow. I can't wait to see organizations having superstars coming and rising up, Okay,
Mm.
on the floor we have Daryl. Daryl, thank you so much. He actually gave us a good comment and
Ah,
he's sharing with us something, here's how I feel we can drive empathy in organizations too. Just spend a bit more time to have lunch and make it a natural part of the daily routines. You see what human centered miracles it starts to create for each other. So it's coming back to how you explain empathy, right? Just spend a little bit more time and how we can implement systems. Coaching helps in that process of spending 30 minutes or even during lunch, to help uncover that, right?
nice tips, Daryl.
Thanks, Daryl. Thank you so much. Okay, so anything else before just to wrap it up, that how we have come to this topic, performance coaching unlocks potential within you, is because when I came across sharing yourself your book, you have so much to share within your book. You have literally just split case studies out. Sorry to spill the spoilers, but so much insights, and it takes a lot of effort and time to put together this. And I believe that Sharon today is very kind enough to actually spread that gift of love to everyone who have attended this. Drop us in the comments, like I said earlier, drop us in the comment your email so that we can send that book to you. If not, we're not sure how else can we actually send it because we don't have your details at all. Okay. Now, coaching is a relationship, as what we have said during the whole conversation. It's a relationship based to move you forward from where you are now to where you want to be, only if you are ready and willingness to be engaged in that coaching conversation. If this can be applied at work, it can also apply in your personal development too. Because, like Sharon had just rightfully said, that actually many a times in the coaching conversations at workplace, it need not just center at career alone. It can be also be life coaching, right? So, once again, I really want to thank Sharon for taking time to be with us for the last 1 hour, sharing with us, your vast coaching experiences. And whoever have stayed on for throughout these 53 minutes, you would have actually hear a lot of nuggets, sharing stories from Sharon herself. So, being in human capital and leadership development, you see from another perspective to truly help the individuals to self discover their potential. So, like you hear during this conversation, though Sharon has been sharing a lot on leadership, on this, how you uncover, from a leadership perspective. But actually, if you think about it, every one of us is a leader of our own rights. If we are not a leader of our own rights, we won't be leading our life, right? So and that's when we have to really keep on self-realize what is actually needed most for ourselves. Now, once again, thank you, Sharon, for taking your time to be with us today, this afternoon. Really thankful and really appreciate your gift of effort and your appreciation to give everybody your abundance of blessings. Now, that's all for this week. Happy Me Career Coaching Initiatives. So let's us thank Sharon.
Thank you, Mavis and everyone.
Everyone, stay tuned for our next episode 17. We'll come back. We'll be in a short break, so we'll come back in March. Take care. Stay safe. Bye bye. Bye, everyone.